My name is Kelly Simmons. I'm a student at George Mason University. I'm in the HAP 360 class, and today's lecture will be participatory random selection. Introduction. Communication among the stockholders, clarify and simplifying information, improve documentation. In an organization, when a product has to be selected, everybody has a different outlook. For example, when an EHR has to be introduced, there are a lot of questions to be answered. This presentation will bring you how to bring a group of discussion makers to select a vendor for information system. There are 7 steps in participatory vendor selection. One is invite stockholders to participate. It is important to engage all aspects who work in different healthcare settings to put their input and be involved in the decision-making process. Step 2 will be one-on-one interview. One-on-one interview can be individual interviewed in order to conduct their purposes. Interviews can be done by phones, emails, or questionnaire. Group meeting. Step 3 will be to introduce him and himself or herself, explains the group task and agenda, restates the importance of the task, and asks members to introduce themselves. Step 4 will be constructing, scoring, processing. Will be scoring procedures based on its purposes. Step 5 will be discussing major differences. Group members may see flaws in logic. Other disagreements are due to valid differences. Measuring vendor performances can be to evaluate the performance of the vendor. Step 7 is documentation. Will be a report showing how various vendors did on each attribute and what scores were assigned to them, and the performances of the vendor on various criteria. Multiple attributes valid models. The purpose of these models is to assign one score that reflects the decision maker's preferences across a large number of criteria. Everybody has a different set of priorities and preferences. For example, if decision makers were choosing another different EHR records systems, the value of the different EHR could be scored by examining such attributes. One way to track the stockholders' preferences is to come up with a numerical score scheme that preserves their preferences. The equation below provides us with a way of scoring the judgments of single member of a team. For example, A1 represents value of attribute 1, A2 represents value of attribute 2, and AN represents the value of attribute N. There were 2 experts that were interviewed. One was the chief medical officer. This represents the charge of the chief medical officer's preferences on information flow, schedule features, and device integration. You can see that information flow is important to her, and the next is the scheduling system and feature, and also the least will be the device integration because she would like to see it to put to use more. To determine the attribute, there was questions asked that was, can you remember a system that was a poor choice? That attributes were recorded and asked to put them into importance. To determine the weight, I asked the experts to rank the importance of the system by using the 0 to 100 scale, 0 being poor and 100 being excellent. Another expert will be the charge nurse. Preferences on information flow, scheduling system features, and device integration. you can see that the information flow is important to her, which was zero point 0.5. Scheduling system features was zero point 0.4, and device integration was zero point 0.3 to her. And she used the scale from 0 to 100 of the weight, and 0 being poor and 100 being excellent. Here are the two experts. One is the chief medical officer and the charge nurse. The information flow was zero point 0.5, scheduling system features was zero point 0.4, and the device integration was zero point 0.4 for the sum of 1.1. These calculations will help select the vendor. The overall score is calculated by the weighted sum of each of the ratings. For example, vendor 1, 100 times 0 0.4 plus 20 times 0 0.4 plus 0 0.2 times 0 will give you a 58. As you can see, that vendor 2 has a higher rating than vendor 1 and is recommended to select vendor 2. Value of vendor selection, value of qualification, value of conducting interviewing. When it comes to purchasing information technology, everybody in the organization has an opinion. They want to be involved because they are going to be settled with the use of the system. They want to be ensured it has the features they need. Managers want to be involved because they want to ensure that the new information system solves long-lasting quality and productivity problems. It is important to engage clinicals, especially frontline clinicals, in the selection of EHR records. People are likely to use the system should be part of selecting it so their needs and preferences are met. Thank you for listening to my presentation.